In Chapter 4, you will learn about the characteristics of the three great immigration streams and the natives' reactions upon arrival, the changing patterns of immigration, as well as laws that were enacted to deal with the complexities of immigration. This chapter is called The Golden Door. Since 1815, many factors have contributed to the great movements of people. In the area of agriculture, machines are replacing workers. Consequently, people leave and look for places where there are available jobs, migrating to other lands. Waves of immigrants arrived in America when economic conditions in the United States were good. We see that same trend today. However, when they have not been good, immigrants do not come, and last year, the Pew Research Center noted a reversal of Mexicans returning back to their country. They attributed that to several factors, one being the backlash towards immigrants and how they supposedly are taking jobs from people here in America. There were three great immigrant streams that came to the United States. Each one had different characteristics. The largest absolute number of the first stream arrived during the 1880s. In the text, you will learn about those characteristics as well as the reasons they came to the United States. You will also learn that between 1820 and 2000, a total of over 66 million people have immigrated to the United States. This figure comes from what used to be the Immigration and Naturalization Service. The next two slides go over the who arrived, the natives' reactions to the new arrivals, and the conditions described in the text. The potato famine was brutal for the Irish. People left Ireland for their survival. When they arrived, the natives were not happy. They were seen as ignorant and barbaric. The conditions they lived in were very poor. The women that immigrated were in high demand for domestic type of jobs. The 19th century Germans were the other group that arrived, and like the Irish, they were driven from their lands because they also experienced crop failures as well as financial losses. The Germans were the largest minority in the 27 states at that time. They became so dominant that the bilingual education instruction was an optional course of study. The Germans actually had the first official bilingual education on the East Coast. During the 1871 to 1880 period, a noticeable change began to occur in the national origins of the newcomers. The federal government ultimately assumed a major role in the control of immigration. Congress passed the 1875 Immigration Act that barred various types of undesirable immigrants. As time passed, the receiving facilities in New York, located at the southern end of Manhattan Island, became very crowded. Eventually, those overcrowded conditions forced the government to take control of immigration and to open a new receiving station. For more than 30 years, Ellis Island served as the golden door for others. It was the Isle of Tears. The Statue of Liberty was a symbol of hope, freedom, and opportunity. For all who came, it was the most traumatic part of their journey to America. After Ellis Island opened, They began to notice the change in the types of newcomers that were arriving. These newcomers were even more foreign to America, or to the Americans. Many of the old first stream foreigners had assimilated culturally by substitution and were moving towards complete Anglo-conformity assimilation. What was so unusual about that second stream immigrants? For many of them, they arrived in conditions unfit for human habitation. The human suffering engendered among all of them is truly incalculable. In this slide, you will learn about the natives' reactions toward the Italians and their ethnic identity. They were seen as the mafia and the Cosa Nostra. Those were notorious criminal organizations, and they believed that the Little Italy communities were hotbeds for crime. Since the Anglo-Americans did not recognize distinctions from the recent arrivals and those that had come earlier, they treated them all with the same hostility. The Italians were a good example of how ethnogenesis occurred with them. Immigrant communities usually were not communities when they came. Their ethnic identities were constructed in America. They became Italian in response to the pressures existing within American society. There were other immigrants that arrived during that second great immigration stream. The Sephardic and Ashkenazic Jews, as well as the Italian and Russian Jews. Pages 94 to 98 will give you details regarding who they were and the natives' reactions, as well as notable differences between the two largest groups of the second immigrant stream. In 1924, laws passed closing that golden door and introduced the use of the national origins principle in the calculation of immigration quotas. During the third great immigrant stream, there were political disturbances, wars, and changes in America's immigration laws that helped stimulate that third stream. There was the rejection of the national origins principle. In 1943, a program to admit temporary ag workers from Mexico was initiated. And in 1948, Congress passed the Displaced Persons Act. In 1965, there was the INAA, also known as the Hart-Celler Act. That one abolished the national origins principle. It established a new preference system aimed to reunite family members and permit certain professionals to enter the country and provide asylum for refugees. The immigrants of the third stream differ from those of the first and second stream. The countries where they came from, the diversity of their socio-economic backgrounds, and where they were coming to. A large number had been displaced from their homes due to war and became refugees. They were mainly coming from Asia and Latin America, hence the term the Browning of America. This new immigration has once again awakened the same fears expressed by natives during the previous periods of high immigration. We see those fears consistently in the news these days. A recent example is that of the children that were coming from the detention centers in Brownsville, Texas. They were coming into Murrieta, California, and they had to be rerouted to San Diego because the buses were blocked from entering the city by protesters. Some of the controversies: the term illegal immigrant may suggest unfairly that the typical undocumented worker that is here in the United States is a person of criminal tendencies. However, most of these people generally are positive and very ambitious, and they're highly willing to work. They usually take the jobs that most Americans don't want to take. Those out in the fields, farm working, manual labor are good examples. Once again, at the end of this chapter, I have a question that was brought up in the text. Are immigrants good for America? The third immigrant stream has caused many people to wonder whether newcomers will fit into the existing structure of American society or will alter it fundamentally. When we take a look at economically, do they take jobs? Do they depress wages? They pay taxes. They don't get them back. Ethnic absorption, can it lead to separatism? The text illustrates some gains and losses to those arguments. The Census Bureau has revised some numbers and now says that possibly by 2025, sooner than the 2015 projection, minorities will outnumber the white majority collectively. What will be the implications of those numbers? Something to think about.